Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to our YouTube channel and thank you for your continued support. Is there any one day we will wake up to any good news about this Kenya Kwanza government? I'm asking this because when you read our headlines, when you watch television, you listen to our radio, you realize that everything about the Kenya Kwanza government is bad news. When you read the report from the Auditor General and the Controller Budget's Office, the report is full of corruption, wastage. When you listen to BBC, we are told about abductions and their killings. Is there any one good news apart from the propaganda from the government bloggers? Now, one such bad news that we have received again is that there is an attempt by the Kenya Kwanza government to reintroduce the controversial Adani deal through the back door. You know, when this deal was signed, Kenyans rejected this deal in the public participation. I wonder whether there was a public participation, but Kenyans told William Ruto, this is wrong. And I remember there were four things about Adani deal. One, it went ahead without any public participation, just like William Ruto has always done his things, introducing the GMO, the LGBTQ, all these kind of policies. He did them without any public participation, taking our policemen to Haiti. There has never been public participation, and if there is, the public participations are mere formalities. Look at the Finance Bill 2024, when Kenyans, went for public participation, and they said no, not now. But they went ahead and coerced it against people. This is what led to the Gen Z protest. So, ladies and gentlemen, it was done against public participation. It was done in a clandestine manner. There was an opaqueness in it. No one could understand how it was done. In fact, were it not for Nelson Amenya, we would have woken up one day when the deal has been signed and someone would have, pocketed so much money, in billions. There was no value for taxpayers' money. Yes, because before such an undertaking happens, the leaders must show Kenyans that there is value for their money. I'm just giving you reasons why Adani deal was rejected. And in fact, the Kenya National Human Rights Commission went to courts and the Law Society of Kenya, and it was quashed by the High Court. Then there was an argument that we can facelift our airport without selling it to anyone, without leasing it to anyone. And even though they gave it a name, I don't know, public-private partnership, yet it was done in a clandestine manner. If you look at the money that we wanted, because Adani was to get this contract for 30 good years, they were going to be in control of our airport. Thereafter, after returning it to us, they were going to get some money indefinitely. People suspected that this was a deal between William Ruto, and he was doing it by proxy. He was going to get some money out of it, and then there were kickbacks. That is what people felt. And then there was this issue of sales of our heritage. You don't remember how they wanted to sell the KICC? There are things that we hold in our hearts. These are Kenyan property that cannot be just leased or sold to people. So, ladies and gentlemen, when Adani deal was quashed by the court, they still didn't obey the court order, because I remember the Energy CS of and I was still saying that we are going to continue the Adani deal until Adani was rocked in a controversial deal in the US involving corruption. That is when William Ruto got a little bit humiliated and he cancelled the Adani deal. But even after the cancellation, Kenyans are still saying, can you show us evidence that you really cancelled this deal? And they cautioned that they hope that there is not going to be any attempt to reintroduce Adani through the back door.
Hope that the Adani deal, now that it is cancelled and we're happy about it, it will not be reintroduced through a back door. And we are not against partnerships, international, local, we are not against them. But let them be presented in a way that we are not suspicious about. Are there deals? Are there kickbacks? Is there anybody who is trading with our country? We are not against, but again, let us deal with reputable organizations. Adani has been spoken against in very many countries, yet here we were saying that we want to do business with them. We have to commend him for being bold enough to say they are cancelled. We must commend him for that. However, it was a bit late because already Kenyans had spoken against Adani in a very big way. If it was public participation, people are saying, don't give out our airport. Don't give out our energy sector to Adani. Yet, progress was made towards that direction until in the United States of America, some prosecutions were done against Adani. That very day, the president spoke against those contracts. Earlier in the morning, if you remember, the Minister for Energy, Ruto-Adani, had said that the Adani deals will go on. Earlier in the day, he had emphatically said it will go on. Then along the way, the Adani cases featured in the US. And the president went to parliament and said, we have cancelled those deals. We hope, just as we have said about the finance bill, that there are not things that are said in public, but then there are still things going underground.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, to confirm the fears of that clergy, you are saying that we might just find ourselves in a situation where Adani is being reintroduced through the back door. The whistleblower who first told us about Adani deal is saying something that is very crucial that I want us to understand. This is what Nelson Amenya is saying. Nelson Amenya is saying that the Kenyan government is planning to give the airport to some company in Dubai. Being a tax haven, it could be Adani behind it. He puts that into bracket and he says, and will use the country's balance sheet as a sovereign guarantee. We are dealing with criminals. If a company has the money and they believe the airport is a worthy investment, why would they need taxpayers to underwrite the deal? You know, when Amenya came with such allegations, they were startling, but the government bloggers were saying that, you know, Amenya is being used by some international companies that were denied, you know, deals in the country, and therefore they are fighting back. But finally, Amenya was exonerated because William Ruto himself said, we are stopping this Adani deal, when push had come to shove. Now, this Adani deal was so sweet to some people that even Raila himself shockingly came up and supported the Adani deal. Because one of the reasons why William Ruto went for this handshake, he wanted Raila to sanitize all his deals, because it is Raila who has always been, you know, fighting whenever there are such controversial deals. Raila would always fight back. So he went for Raila to silence him, and before we knew it, Raila was supporting this Adani deal. Now it has backfired on him, because the same thing that William Ruto was, you know, wanted to do with the Adani deal is the same thing that is happening in Nyanza. As we speak, governors in Nyanza and Western have started making noise that William Ruto is leasing, you know, the sugar industries in Western and Nyanza in a very clandestine manner. There is no public participation, just like there was none in the Adani airport deal. Stakeholders have not been consulted, like farmers and even the leaders of the area. There is no value for the money. Like Chemeli, like Nyong'o wrote a very bitter letter. He's saying that Chemeli and Moroni are being leased, and they're being leased to some small sugar industries that have been in the market for less than 15 years. And Nyong'o is saying that this is daylight robbery and economic sabotage. The same thing that Raila was supporting in Adani deal. So there's no public participation. There is no assurance of value for money. You know, they are also done in secrecy. There is no open tender. And if you compare what William Ruto is doing with the leasing of sugar companies and what, you know, was happening in the Adani deal, it is the same. So right now, William Ruto is in Nyanza telling them that we have given you P1I, we have given you Mbadi, but at the same time, he's busy taking away, and he's taking plus the land. Nyong'o was making notes that even the prime land, in fact, schools that have been there before, are going to be taken away. And so the deal that Raila supported is the same deal that has come back to haunt him. Now, ladies and gentlemen, Amenya has spoken, and you will see the government bloggers led by Tumbi. They will start thwarting and neutralizing what Amenya is saying. But I think having been proved right, we need to listen to what Amenya is saying. Because Amenya is putting his life in danger. He's a whistleblower. You know what happens to in the history of whistleblowers in very high sensitive cases. And Amenya is now telling us that there is a Dubai company. Now, something to do with the Dubai companies and these Adani deals, they could be linked together. Everything that William Ruto does, according to those who have worked with him, there must be a kickback.
I think William Ruto is actually unfit for the position of President of the Republic of Kenya. I don't want to give you the obvious ones about the Adanis, because I have some background about it. He's the one who's clearly behind it. And I know this because when his advisor, Adan Mohammed, invited me to attend the COP28 in Dubai in 2023, he gave me a lot of information which ended up with the Adani deal about the airport specifically. Even during that same time, some Russian oligarchs who had offered to invest $1 billion here in Kenya. And again, it came from Adan Mohammed. In fact, I have even staff telling me that an NGO, I go and check. If there's no, I said the NGO councils, we don't have any such company.
No such thing is registered.
Then on the day we were coming from India, after that COP28, we flew to India for state visit, blah, blah. I am landing on my way back because Guru, this guy of Defki, everywhere you see Ruto around him, it's one of the Guptas. When Guru told me during breakfast on the day we were leaving Delhi, that that plane of the president is not good. I've chatted another one for him. As we are going direct, get an executive jet. I've gotten him. So I land in Dubai. Ruto is calling me. Those people, those Russians want you. They are there. They are in Dubai. They are waiting. You sign things. I said, I'm just at the airport and I'm on transit. I am not leaving the airport.
Right.
He said, no, but they are there. Your people, your staff have already worked on the document. I said, no, I will need to go and review it in office.
This document being the deal?
The deal. They were purporting to give a grant of $1 billion to grow allegedly 3 billion trees to answer 15 billion. William Ruto, whenever he comes up with a program, it's for money making. For him, it's for money making.
So, ladies and gentlemen, Amenya has said it. JB Muturi is now saying it, and we can easily play politics around this and say, why is JB Muturi talking now? Why couldn't he talk when he was in government? Yes, that is a question for another day. But what we are dealing with at hand is there is an attempt to bring back Adani deal through the back door. That is what Nelson Amenya is saying. Is it a must that we facelift our airport by these Indian firms or Dubai firms? Why can't they just place everything on the table? Tell Kenyans this is what we are about to do. Public participation. This is the amount of money that we want to use. What will be the collateral security? I mean, why must we do things secretly? In a country that Kenyans are grappling with economic challenges, why still want to, waste taxpayers' money? And the people who are supposed to stand up and fight this are now in bedfellows with the government. So which sector is safe? The airport is not safe. In fact, Adani was in the electricity, the energy sector, the health sector, a corrupt company that has been flagged off by the US. In fact, why not for US, we would have gone on authoritatively without any consideration to Kenyan concerns. We would have gone on with the deal. Now there is an attempt to bring either Adani or another company with a very secret dealing. Ladies and gentlemen, Kenya is left to the dogs. We are not in the right direction. We are not against anybody. We are not against any public, private partnership. We just want things to be done transparently. Do you remember during the Finance Bill 2024, we were told tumetoa hii levy, tumetoa hii tax, this is a good document. They cherry pick what they want to tell us. Yet, behind the curtains, there were cards that were hidden. When Amenya spoke for the first time, some people played politics. He's now cautioning us. Kenyans have got this penchant of ignoring these red alerts. I've always said that we caught Jose Kamago at the airport with election materials. We still went ahead with elections. Now we are crying foul. We discussed it for 2 days. It elicits a lot of reaction. Inaisha hivyo. When Musando died, at the time when we were approaching an election, Kenyans talked about it and they said, oh, imeenda, lakini they still went for that election. Today, after the appointments of the IEBC commissioners, some of them are saying, these are Ruto's friend. And things are just moving. Time is moving very fast. Before we know it, we'll be in 2027. Elections are done. He wins. Court. Wild goose chase. Another 5-year term for him. Sales of our Kenyan heritage. Leasing, some of this property without any evidence of value for money. Where are we headed as a country? Ladies and gentlemen, we really need to stop this. And I think this is where our courts now come in handy. The courts have really done a good job. Of late, they are not mincing their words. They are not blinking. They have decided that they are the only savior to Kenyans because all the independent institutions have been corrupted and they have been compromised. The office of the DPP, Parliament, DCI, NIS, we can't get value. So guys, the ball is in our court. Amenya has done his part. We are there to discuss it, to lament, and let it go as usual. But I think we should stand up and stop. If this is true, we must stop it. Is there any one day we will wake up to any good news about the Kenya Kwanza government?